Come on.
First bite, he's got grace. House rules, man, house rules.
Okay, Roman. Bless our table.
Father, thank you for the gathering of friends. Father, we give thanks for all the choices we've made because that's what makes us who we are. Let us forever cherish the loved ones we've lost along the way. Thank you for the little angel, the newest addition to our family. Thank you for bringing Letty home. And most of all, thank you for fast cars.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and what's up, guys? We'll here bring you a brand new Fast and Furious car remake. In today's remake, I am bringing you the 1970 Chevy Camaro Rally Sport from Furious 6. Now, this car didn't actually move. It was sitting in the driveway at the very end scene where they're, like, you know, gonna have dinner and all that. So I thought this would be a relatively good build for this video and everything. The color scheme, I believe, is Hans. That's what a lot of people think it is, but never really know whose it is. I believe the Gallardo is actually Roman's, and then you see, you know, Brian's GTR behind the Camaro here. You know, this is the next car I thought I'd bring out. It's really nice, and I thought the color scheme looked really cool. Plus, the car design actually looked pretty decent too. So, but it is actually a really nice looking car, and it does use a custom crew color. Unfortunately, we'll get into that in a little bit, but as always, we're going to start off with the base price. You want to go to the internet, you want to go to the travel and transport website, you want to go down to the Legendary Motorworks website, you want to go over here and sort by 2 doors, then you want to go up here and sort by price, then you want to go down and you want to find yourself the Imponte Nightshade, part of the Executives and Other Criminals DLC. The Imponte Nightshade is going to be costing you $585,000. It's pretty decent, you know, for the build though. Performance-wise isn't the greatest, but I mean, this is about the closest build you can actually do, other than maybe the Phoenix. But again, I think the Phoenix is based more after like a Trans Am than this car here. This is more like in 1968 to maybe like 1971, 72-ish kind of like, you know, area of Camaro style, I think. I'm probably totally wrong on that, but you know, this is what I think it is. Anyways, once you have your car and you have your color, meet us at the Los Santos car meet location. You can see here. Again, I think this car turned out really nicely for very little detail I actually had on the car and actually what I could find. But you know, we're gonna stick with what I got and we're just gonna go from there. I'm gonna be using pictures not only from like the background pictures that I found, but I'm also gonna be using pictures from the actual movie as well. So should be pretty interesting. So let's not waste any more time and let's get into the build. So the Imponte Nightshade's in the muscle category, self-explanatory. It should be based around a Camaro of some sort. Not sure exactly what year, but I know the one in the movie is, you know, rough estimate probably be like 1970, maybe 1971, 72, somewhere around that range, I would say. But again, it could be wrong. I don't know muscle cars all that well. Honestly, I don't know cars all that well, but I just know how to build them and how to design them pretty relatively close to the actual build from where it's portrayed. As I say in all my videos, I go over the overall look, the visual appearance, and the basic design of the car and how it's portrayed in the movie, game, or anywhere else in general itself. Anything I don't go over is completely up to you. I just put a few staples in on my build. If you want to recreate my build or take some things away from my build to make your own build, you're more than welcome to. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into the build. So this car is pretty lackluster. There's not really too much going to be changing on this. Plus, it doesn't have too many customization options, 19 in total. So you want to go and start off with the bumpers. You want to go to the front bumper and you just want to keep that stock. It didn't have an extended chin spoiler. I mean, it kind of did, and it also was a different color. I think it was like a carbon or maybe like a matte black, like the actual stripe there is. But I mean, for the most part, you just want to keep it stock. It was nice and small, and I don't see it putting a reason on putting the big one on there. So save yourself a little bit of money, keep it stock. From there, move on to the rear bumpers. You want to keep the stock rear bumper. Don't add the wheelie bar. It definitely didn't have one. I mean, it's functional now since we can actually wheelie in muscle cars, but I mean, for this build, I would just keep it stock. From there, move on to the exhaust. You want to go with the side exit exhaust. It had exhaust coming out the side fenders. Unfortunately, we don't have that option. We either have the back here or the side, because this was one of the very first cars to release in the game, like from launch pretty much. So I say the side exit exhaust is probably the best option to go for, and that's what I went for. From there, move on to the grille. You want to go with the chrome open grille. I went for this because it has like the kind of same style to it. It's not as small as it was in the actual real life build, but unfortunately there is no other grille that actually fits the best in my opinion. So again, I think the chrome open grille is still the best option. From there, move on to the hood. You want to go with the stock hood. It did have a little bit of a bulge, so if you really wanted to, you could go with the performance hood, I think. But I mean, the actual like hood style goes all the way out to the end of the like the stripe here, and I figure the performance hood isn't the best option in my personal opinion, but also a viable option if you want to use it. I just think the stock option is still pretty decent. The bulge wasn't too like noticeable, I guess you could say. So yeah, definitely go with that. You don't want to add like a scoop or any kind of intake or anything. So yeah, just definitely go with the either performance hood, which again, very viable option and understandable if you want to do that one, or stock hood, which I'm going for my build. From there, move on to the lights. You want to go to headlights and you want to keep them stock. It kind of keeps that old like style patina color to it, like a very like yellowish white kind of mix to it, instead of actually having, you know, pure white lights or even the golden shower. Keeping them stock is still, again, the best option in my personal opinion. Kind of like a mixture, or like the best of both worlds. From there, move on to the neon kits. Neon layout's gonna be none, but you can add the pure black neon if you want to. That's completely your call to add a little bit more traction. You don't really need to necessarily, and I didn't do it to my build, so it's completely your call. It doesn't have the greatest performance, so I honestly don't think you need it. But again, completely your choice. It is a little slidey, a little drifty. Again, totally your call. From there, move on to the plate. You want to go with a blue and white too, because we were back in California. And whatever plate you want to go for, because honestly, I don't even think it had a plate on it. I didn't see no plate. I couldn't find a plate. And you know me, I'm just going to go with the 1327 plate, because that's pretty much where this car actually took place. And who knows, maybe I'll actually be coming out with like the other builds as well. You know, you have Rowan's Gallardo, and I think Dom also has his Barracuda there, so who knows? We'll see what I actually come up with a little bit later on in the future. Could be like a, you know, collection set I'm building, so we'll see. But yeah, 1327 is what I'm gonna go for my plate. And again, if you want to just make sure you make the custom plate, the best one you can actually go for is the blue and white too, because I think it is best representation to a California style plate, at least back then. Same respray for last. We move on to the roll cage. You definitely do want to add a roll cage to it. It was kind of like a half cage. It was like kind of did like the angular cage in the back, how the LG Retro Custom has. But unfortunately, again, this car is in release. They only had two options. It's either nothing or have a full-on roll cage in it, so I just went with the full-on roll cage just to have that roll cage in there. From there, move on to the spoiler. Now I went with none because I didn't see one. If at most you wanted to actually add one to give a little bit more traction, a little bit more control when driving it, I would definitely go with something along the lines of the ducktail spoiler. I know it does kind of go around the outside there. I would say the stock car wing, but it didn't have the wires on the back, and it wasn't like angled. It was pretty much flat all the way across. So it was like all symmetrical all the way across like this, but again, it wasn't sticking out at the very ends there. So, I mean, totally your call what you want to do. I just kept mine with none because, again, if it had one, it was a very, very small lip spoiler. And unfortunately, this car doesn't have one. It'd be nice if it did, but it doesn't. So, I'm just going to go with none. From there, move on to the suspension. I kept it stock. I mean, I think it has pretty decent fitment. Probably one of the better cars in the actual game to actually have decent fitment. I mean, sure, the fenders are a little bit sticking out, a little bit more wide and all that. But, I mean, for the tire size and everything it has on it, I think it has decent fitment for at least back in the day for the release of this car. Hey look, there's somebody beside me using the new wide body Sentinel, which I will be probably making a build on that as well, so stay tuned for that. So that should be interesting. Thank you Bad Sport for the option to, well, the idea actually I should say. Thank you Bad Sport for the idea for actually doing that. From there, move on to the turbo. Honestly, I would definitely add a turbo. I don't know if it had a turbo or a supercharger or anything in it. The main reason I say to add the turbo is because it is pretty slow. But I mean, this is a Rally Sport build, and I mean, it probably had like a bunch of horsepower, some bit of torque to it. I mean, it was probably mean and aggressive, but in game, it's very lackluster. Like, its performance is not the greatest. I can tell you that right now. Even though acceleration bar is completely maxed out, the top speed is terrible. The handling on it's not the greatest. It's pretty much just like a, I guess, show car or kind of like a collection car, which it is for most of mine anyways. I do drive it around free mode at times, but it's very rare. So yeah, I would definitely add a turbo to it just to give it a little bit more oomph, a little more pep in its step. From there, move on to the wheels. You want to go to wheel type. You want to go down to the street category, and I put on the organic type 2. Now, I think these fit the best, mainly because if you look, they kind of go like a V shape here, like, you know, kind of like a big V shape, as you can see here. And, you know, it goes right into the middle of the actual rim. And I'm going to post a picture. It's like a really close up of the actual rim. It's kind of hard to see. Again, we don't really have much info on this car, except for like some background screenshots and all that. I did the best I could for this, but the organic type 2 is my best option. If you don't think they fit well, there is another option I was actually debating on. you go to the track category, you go down to the bottom, and you go to the Forged Star. I think these also work really well. The only thing is, instead of like a V shape, they kind of go more like a Y shape, like a capital Y. As you can see, the V is at the top, it kind of goes into one bar and then it goes into the middle. But I mean, again, the Forged Star or the Organic Type 2 are the best options in my personal opinion. These aren't as deep dish. This is the main reason why I didn't go for these, because the wheels actually on the car, I believe, are a little bit more deep dish. So the ones I went for, again, are the Street Organic Type 2. I just think they fit better and they work pretty decently. There are no exact rims in the actual game for this build, so these are my best options. From there, you move on to the wheel color. You want to go with a black steel. I think the black steel actually works really well. A lot of people thought they were just black rims, but upon further investigation and further close-up inspection of the actual pictures, it's more like a kind of like darkish gray, like pretty much like a black steel, you know, like it's a mix between gray and black. So again, black steel mixed between the two, my personal opinion. From there, move on to the tires. You want to go to tire design. You just want to keep them stock. Don't add any text to it because they didn't have any tire text on there that I noticed anyways. So yeah, just keep them stock. From there, tire enhancements. If you want to add bulletproof tires on, you're more than welcome to. I wouldn't add low grips. Wasn't a drifting car, but I mean, if it was Han's car, it might have been used for drifting back in the day, because Dom did say that when he was riding with him, you know, he was in the muscle. So it's hard to say, but I just kept with standard tires just to keep a more realistic effect of the car. But again, GTA Online, I can understand if you want to put bulletproof tires on. It's completely understandable and completely your choice. From there, move on to the tire smoke. I just went with the white tire smoke. Again, the car was just sitting there, never really saw it move, didn't even see it start up. I mean, it would have been kind of cool if they actually like pulled up into the driveway with this thing, but unfortunately it just was sitting there. So yeah, white tire smoke, best option. And last before the respray is windows. You just want to go with none. I didn't see any tint on it. I thought maybe it might have had maybe a little bit of a light smoke, but I mean, it's a rally like sport design, like a rally kind of design for the car. And most of the time, if it's a rally build, you break a window, it's going to cost you a lot of money, especially if you put tint on it. So they probably just have nothing on there. So I would just go with none. All right. And I'll see you guys in 2 seconds with a rolled steel primer color. All right, and we're back. As you can see, I have my car in my primered out rolled steel. Pretty much what I always do for all my builds. That way you know what colors I'm going to be using. Now I do a custom crew color as well as an LSC color for this build. I'm gonna go over the LSC color first. So if you want to follow me along with this, you can. So you want to go to the classic section. You want to go down to the oranges, and you want to go with just a regular orange. So you want to apply that just like that. And then from there, you want to go down and you want to go to the secondary color. You want to go down to the matte and you want to put on a matte black. The stripe, or like the kind of like strip that goes down the back of the actual, like the middle of the car, is actually a matte black stripe, which is really cool. It kind of cuts up and like disperses the color. So you have like a shiny kind of reflective glossy kind of orange on it. And then you have this nice matte black stripe going straight down the middle. It's really awesome. So this is a really great look to it, as well as, you know, if you don't want to use the custom crew color, you're more than welcome to use this. I think it turned out great for this color, but the custom crew color is just a little bit darker. It is the one color I used for Han's RX-7 or the ZR350 build I used. So I'm going to put the hex code on screen right now. I'm going to go back to the primary. I'm going to go down to the crew section, and you're going to see the color change. It's going to darken just a little. It's a couple, like maybe a shade or two, but it's not very much of a change. So again, classic orange is a really great option. You can also use a metallic orange, but you're going to be spending a little bit more money because you do need to make sure that the pearlescent is black no matter what. So you want to go to the crew color. You want to add the crew color. It's going to be changing in 3, 2, 1. As you can see, it just kind of very subtly like darkens it a little bit by like a shade or two. I think this works better. Plus, you know me, I love using my custom crew colors. I take a lot of pride in my builds and in my custom crew colors I create. So I'm going to apply that just like that. Then you want to go down and make sure your pearlescent is a black. Now I know in the actual ZR350 build for his RX-7, I use something like a silver or like a dark steel or something like that, just to kind of get a little bit of a shine on there. But as you can see, it kind of shines on the matte stripe. So the best option I think that you go for is actually just keeping it black. Yeah, I definitely would just keep it with the black. It also goes on the roll cage as well. You can see if I just kind of go down, it goes on the roll cage. See, the roll cage is red now. Yeah, I would just honestly just keep the pearlescent black. So that's why I say just go with a classic orange instead of a metallic. But if you go with the custom crew color, you make sure you go down and change your pearlescent to black. And that is it, guys. That is how you recreate the 1970 Chevy Camaro Rally Sport from Furious 6. Again, speculation. People think it was Han's car, Han's build, because it was his colors, his iconic orange and black, you know, this kind of fits the build and just fits him in general. We don't know whose car it is exactly. All I know is it looked really cool. I thought it would be a nice car to build, and I don't really see too many people actually going over this build or actually doing this build. I don't think I am the very first one to do this, but I do think that it did turn out pretty decent. But you guys can be the judge of that and let me know down in the comment section down below. So let's go back to our parking spot. All right, as we sit in our parking spot, I am in passive mode. I think the time, okay, 14. That's not terrible. Let's go outside. All right, so it's nice and sunny out. I'm gonna do a little spin out here in the sunlight, as I always do. Again, I think the color turned out great. Again, it's in my custom crew color, so it might look a little bit different for you out in the sunlight if you're using the classic or regular metallic orange. But like I said, do make sure you use the black pearlescent. You do not want a pearlescent on there, because it does get a little bit of shine from the sun in general, as you can see here from the black stripe, and you don't want it to overpower it too much, so adding that black pearlescent kind of nullifies that color. So let's go for a little bit of a drive. The car actually sounds really good. I know you can't really hear it because the train performance on it's not the greatest. Like I said, it's pretty cool though. It does have like a NOS spot on the middle. Fortunately, I don't know, it feels like it should be a lot faster than what it is. It does sound really good though. Probably one of the better sounding muscle cars in the game. I believe it might even have maybe the same sound as the Hellfire in game. Kind of sounds almost the same. They just add a little bit of a supercharger whine to that one. If they would have added that sound file to this one instead, or as the same thing, then that would be pretty cool, but they didn't. So, but yeah, I think that the car turned out pretty decent. You guys can let me know what you think down below. So as always, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment down in the comment section down below for what build you want to see next. And, you know, I will definitely take a crack at it. It can be a build from a movie, real life, a video game, pretty much anywhere. It can be anything too. I always love a challenge. You never really know. Maybe I'll pick one of your builds to do next. I mean, with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great, safe, and fulfilling Thanksgiving. And I hope to see you guys definitely in the next one. So yeah, guys, thanks for all the love and support as always. Thank you all very much for watching, and I definitely hope to see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned for more, as well as more God of War Ragnarok playthrough, I guess. Yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. So I'll catch you guys later. I'm out. Peace.